This video is sponsored by LG. So on my left side, I've got the LG Ultragear 45-inch OLED ultra-wide gaming monitor. And on my right side, I've got the 49-inch Samsung Odyssey OLED G9, also a gaming monitor and an ultra-wide. I had one before I had the other one, but now I kind of just bounce between both of them. So in all that time, I've had a few people ask me what the differences or what some differences are between using both of these monitors. They're not the best monitors if you're looking for something for office work or just general use cases. But if you're looking for something for gaming specifically, or something that's a hybrid for both gaming and some office work or school work, then I think these monitors could work out great. Now, we're going to be checking out the differences between the both of them in today's video. But the main thing we'll be focusing on is the display technology. Now, you might already know that both of these monitors use OLED panels, but what you might not know is that they use different kinds of OLED panels. And that's what we're going to be checking out in today's video. We're going to be checking out some considerations that you might want to take into account before you decide on one of these display technologies. Now, let's go ahead and check out some key differences between the LG Ultragear, which uses a WOLED panel, and the Samsung Odyssey OLED G9, which uses a QD-OLED panel. Okay, I'm going to start off by going over some hardware spec differences between the two monitors. In terms of thickness, the Ultragear has a thicker body around its display more than the OLED G9 does. It's also got a much thicker overall build due to that sharper curvature and will require a deeper desk than the OLED G9. On the other hand, the G9 is much slimmer and wider and will require a longer desk to sit on or be mounted onto comfortably. Both monitors are super lightweight, weighing around the same ballpark with and without a stand on, and I'm sure this is because of the OLED panels they both use. For I/O ports, there's a few differences to consider between the two monitors. First, the Ultragear has a total of two full-sized HDMI 2.1 ports, while the G9 has one full-sized HDMI 2.1 and a micro HDMI port. Second, the Ultragear comes with three USB 3.0 ports, while the G9 has a 3-port USB-C hub. Both monitors also come equipped with one DisplayPort 1.4 port, with the Ultragear being the only one with a headphone jack and an optical port. They're also both VESA compatible for desk and wall mounting, and also come with basic backlighting built right into the back of each monitor. The stock stands that come supplied with each one both look and work great. They both have useful features like swivel, tilt, and height adjustment. Both monitors come with on-device manual control in the form of a single button, albeit in different locations. They also come with similar sized remote controls for access to a more robust settings menu. As for audio, the G9 might have a bit of an upper hand there. It comes equipped with two built-in speakers situated on the back that work well enough for most use cases. I definitely won't suggest using them if you have some decent headphones or some dedicated external speakers, because they will probably sound better. They're also nice to have there as backup, which I definitely cannot say about the Ultragear, as it does not come with built-in speakers at all. For getting audio out of it, you'll have to use some external speakers or headphones. I think we can all agree that a monitor's display is its most important part. From my experience using both monitors mainly for gaming, they've always produced some pretty amazing visuals. Both monitors use different modified, or should I say upgraded, OLED panels, which is the main reason for that, but there are some important differences to consider between the two types before deciding on one. First off, the G9 has a super ultra wide 49-inch display with an 1800R curvature, while the Ultragear has a 45-inch display with an 800R curvature. Both monitors have the same maximum resolution of 1440p or quad high definition. The OLED G9 is categorized as a dual quad high definition monitor, which essentially means it combines two standard 27-inch quad high definition monitors together, while the Ultragear OLED is classified as a WQHD, which just happens to be a wider format of the standard 32-inch 1440p monitor. Something important to keep in mind with ultra-wide and super ultra-wide resolutions is that some games might not support them natively. In such cases, you'll end up seeing large black borders on both sides of the screen, which honestly can be a bit annoying to look at. So far, I found that a lot of PC games come with support for ultra-wide and super ultra-wide resolutions. I certainly wouldn't suggest picking up any of these ultra-wides if you plan on using it mainly with consoles. The PS5 and the Series X only support the standard 1440p resolution, and that means games will only play stretched out or with large black borders on the sides. On the OLED G9, you can always use split screen mode to get the monitor screen to effectively split into two 27-inch standard 1440p monitors. When used like this, you can have two different sources connected at the same time to the monitor without any visible border between the two of them. The LG Ultragear OLED also has a picture-by-picture or a picture-in-picture mode, which also functions very similarly to the split screen on the OLED G9. I feel like it does offer more variety in terms of how you can split the screen versus the OLED G9. With the OLED G9, you can only split it exactly at the center to create two 27-inch monitors, while with the LG Ultragear, you can create different sized picture-in-picture or picture-by-picture modes. Both monitors come equipped with ultra-low response times of 0.03 milliseconds, 240 Hz high maximum refresh rates, insane viewing angles, accurate colors, deep black levels, and an overall amazing picture quality. The G9 uses Samsung's modified QD-OLED, while the Ultragear uses LG's modified WOLED panels. QD stands for Samsung's quantum dot technology, which has been applied to regular OLED panels to provide an even better image quality and higher brightness levels. The W in the Ultragear's OLED panel, on the other hand, stands for LG's use of a white sub-pixel alongside the normal pixels, just to increase the resistance of the panel to burn-in effects. When it comes down to which panel produces the better image quality, that has to be the monitor with the QD OLED, which is the OLED G9. The reason for this is due to the fact that QD OLED uses quantum dots, which is a display technology Samsung already uses to improve image quality in some of their high-end LED displays. In layman terms, quantum dots elevate the already amazing image quality you get from normal OLED displays. This also leads to an increased overall brightness level, which is great considering one of the biggest issues with normal OLEDs is their low brightness levels, even when used in HDR mode. On the other hand, the white sub-pixel used in WOLEDs also mean they produce a slightly lesser image quality. It's not by a large margin, and I'd still say that the image quality produced by both monitors is so close in comparison, especially to the normal or the average eyes. Both monitors also come with HDR support that work great. The Ultragear OLED comes with HDR10, while the OLED G9 comes with VESA Display HDR True Black 400 certification. When HDR is turned on, both monitors get brighter, colors pop better, and the overall image quality is much more vivid. If you happen to have any experience using OLED displays, then you probably know about the low brightness levels to expect from them. To combat this, LG is now using MLA technology in their WOLEDs, which work exceptionally well at increasing the panel's overall brightness level by more than double what you'd expect from normal OLED panels. Samsung is also now using AI-assisted color mapping with their QD-OLED panels in order to help in producing even higher overall brightness levels, bringing it pretty close to the WOLEDs with MLA technology. Essentially, both monitors can achieve high brightness levels to the point where they can still be used easily in bright situations. If you plan on using either of these monitors in a bright room or one where there's a window on the opposite side of the display, then you want to make sure that you know how well they both work under these conditions. The 45-inch Ultragear OLED comes with a matte coating applied over the screen, which works pretty well at preventing screen glares and reflections. It does have one downside though. The matte screen gives the OLED display a bit of a dull look as opposed to the glossy nature of most OLED displays. On the other hand, the 49-inch Odyssey OLED G9 uses an anti-reflective coating over top a glossy screen, which works pretty well in fighting off glares and reflections as well. Between the two of them, I'd say the matte finish on the Ultragear OLED definitely does a better job of fighting off glares and reflections, but the Odyssey G9 still has the better looking glossy OLED display. One of the biggest fears that come with owning anything with an OLED panel is burn-ins. If you don't know what that is, all you need to know is that it's the last thing you want to experience on any OLED display. It doesn't seem to happen a lot, but I'm sure it does. I personally haven't experienced it myself, but I know it can be pretty bad. The reason LG started adding the white sub-pixel to their normal OLED panels is to make them more resistant to that burn-in effect. This is a great upgrade since it increases the lifespan of these displays. Now, with QD OLEDs, there's no white sub-pixel, so expect it to be more prone to burn-in, just like any other normal OLED display. Another very important thing to consider between these two OLED display types is overheating. According to LG, the WOLEDs do a better job at maintaining a constant temperature of 40 degrees during prolonged uses as opposed to the QD OLEDs, which have a tendency to get very hot with prolonged usage. I went ahead and tested this out myself, gaming for about 3 hours continuously on both monitors. What I noticed was very interesting. Like I said earlier, I've had both of these monitors for a while now, and in all of that time, one of the major differences I've noticed between them is in the overheating problems that you might experience with one of them. So the QD OLED panel on the OLED G9 does get hot after prolonged gaming sessions. So you'll notice around the center point of the screen that it does get warm. I'll say it gets hot because you can actually feel the heat emanating from that point on the screen. Towards the edges of the screen, there's not as much heat. Matter of fact, it's kind of cold the further out you get towards the edges of the screen. Now, I don't know if that's something to actually be worried about, especially in the long run. I don't know if it can damage the panel or cause something that could lead to long-term effects later down the line. What I know for sure is that it does get hot around that center point. And I'm not alone on this one. You go on Reddit right now and you search up anything about the OLED G9 and overheating, and you will see that there's a lot of people also experiencing this issue. I had to go online to find out for myself to make sure that I wasn't the only one. So I decided to go ahead and try out the same thing with the LG Ultragear 45-inch, and I did not experience nearly as much heat emanating from the center point of the screen. I did notice it get a little bit warm, but nothing close to what I got out of the Samsung OLED G9. So that was a lot hotter. And I don't know if it's something to be worried about, like I said, but it's definitely something you'd want to consider if you're deciding to pick one between these two different monitors. This might be a problem that not every user is experiencing or experiences or even cares about, but I thought it's something that was worth mentioning if you were deciding to pick one of these monitors up. Now, if you plan on picking up one of these monitors, mainly for productivity related stuff like school or even office work, then you might want to look elsewhere, as they're not really designed for that. The low native resolution on both may lead to blurry text that's hard to see or even read for most people. When gaming, on the other hand, their low resolutions isn't as much of an issue, especially since they both use beautiful OLED panels. I've actually found that it can be an advantage, especially for weaker PCs, since they wouldn't have to push as much pixels as they would with 4K monitors. This in turn means they're able to output higher FPS numbers for a much better gameplay experience. Now, if you want a monitor that you can primarily game with and also do some light productive work with, then these two are definitely solid options to consider. If it comes down to the additional features on each monitor being the deciding factor, you'll find that there's both similarities as well as some key differences between both. First off, both monitors come with their own version of a game mode and a game bar, which is meant to optimize and provide access to quick gameplay settings. This is a solid feature to have on any gaming monitor, and it works great on both. Monitors geared towards gaming tend to come with either AMD FreeSync, NVIDIA's G-Sync, or support for both. The Ultragear OLED comes with support for both, but the OLED G9 on the other hand only comes with support for AMD's FreeSync Premium Pro. Another feature worth mentioning is the integration of Samsung's Tizen OS and Smart Hub into the OLED G9 for media use. It's very similar to Tizen OS on Samsung TV, so if you're familiar with that, you already know what to expect. For me, I find that this feature is pretty much useless on a monitor like this, and I never use it. On the other hand, there's nothing like that on LG's Ultragear OLED. The price of these monitors change quite often, and there's always discounts and sales on items like these. So it's up to each person to decide on one of these monitors based on its feature set. If you're looking for an ultra-wide gaming monitor with a curved OLED display that's more resistant to burn-in, overheating, and also provides a superior level of gameplay immersion, then I'd suggest turning your sights towards the 45-inch LG Ultragear OLED. It's also the cheaper alternative of the two of them, at least as of the time of this video. On the other hand, if you're looking for a super immersive ultra-wide gaming monitor with better OLED picture quality, or if built-in speakers are a must for you, then the Samsung Odyssey OLED G9 might be the better alternative. That's it for this comparison. I hope I've answered some of your questions about these two monitors, and that this has helped some of you guys in deciding which one to go for. Thanks for watching as always. You can leave any questions you've got for me below. I'll catch you all next time. It's Tommy, and I'm out, y'all.